Hello, YouTube! This is Zentthefirst coming back at you once again after another hiatus. I'm sorry for having this be so long. But I have something new for you. Something I've never done before. And I want to try it out and see how you like it. I'm going to be doing a top list. This is going to be my top 20 favorite Pokemon from Generation 1 through 3. So, explain why it's only Generation 1 and 3. I feel like I have a strong grasp on who are my favorites in those three generations. Well, in Generation 4 through 6, I haven't played them enough to have a solid opinion on what I like the best and what I don't like the best. So, it would be unfair to them to include them in here. Now, let me set down the ground rules. I've considered every Pokemon from Generation 1 to 3. Rule 1. There can be Pokemon from the same line throughout all the list. They will be at different numbers, but I like them in different amounts, so it's going to be completely fair. They're not going to be beside each other, so fair warning. You're going to see this a couple of times where you see a whole line of Pokemon, or almost a whole line of Pokemon on this list. Rule 2. I am only considering this for how much I like the Pokemon, a story I have from my past with them, their design. Those are going to be the core things I look at, and how powerful they are, as well as how many times I used them on my team. So let us get started with Honorable Mention number 5. And this is a big name here. It's Lugia from the Pokemon 2000 movie and Pokemon Soul Silver. I love Lugia. Its design is simplistic and perfect, and it's amazing. It's also very powerful, which I enjoy in my legendaries. I can remember watching the Pokemon 2000 movie and loving Lugia, and I wasn't rooting for Ash or anybody else. I was rooting for Lugia. The only reason it's not on the official list is I have things that I like more than it. I might have fond memories and it might be really cool and powerful, but there are things I have grown more attached to. Alright, next number! Donphan. I don't know why I like this Pokemon. I can see it on my team, but I don't ever have it on my team, ever. It's honestly one of those situations where if I had an anime where I was the Pokemon trainer being followed, Donphan would be on my team. Just because its design just gives me like a perfect personality. Like big and tough and threatening, but a big sweetheart, you know? And it just looks neat. Well, that's about it. Donphan. Alright, on to Honorable Mention number 3. Espeon. My favorite Eevee evolution. I love Espeon. It just looks so neat and cool. I love psychic types in general, but Espeon is amazing. It looks like it came from the Feywild dimension, and it's ethereal. It looks like it should be weightless, and it just looks like if you mess with it, you're going to be cursed for all eternity. It's creepy and cool, and it's perfect. But again, only in the honorable mentions. All right, to the next one. Honorable mention number 2, Snorlax. Oh, this guy he's like in the Donphan category. He's got a personality in his design. I can just like see myself in the Pokemon world having a Snorlax just so I could lay on his tummy while he sleeps and me and him just sleep together, and whenever somebody tries to mess with us, we get angry and just crush them. And that is why Snorlax is in this spot. Alright, number 1 in my honorable mentions category, Sceptile. Sceptile is the final evolution of one of my favorite starter Pokemon lines. You know, Treecko, Grovyle, and then Sceptile. Reason Sceptile is so low on this list, even though I love powerful Pokemon, is his design is a little bit more boring than others. The reason he's a top honorable mentions is I got a lot of fond memories playing Generation 3 with him for the second time. Yeah, in Generation 3, he was not my first pick. He was second pick. We'll get to the first pick later, but he is an amazing Pokemon, and I love him. I will. He's amazing. All right, time for the actual list now. We are out of the honorable mentions. Number 20, Raichu. Raichu is an amazingly designed Pokemon. It's take all the best parts of Pikachu and make it more awesome. And this has a little bit of story behind it as well. I did not play the video games when they first came out, or even years after they first came out. How I started? I started watching the anime. That was my first introduction to Pokemon. And Pikachu, because Pikachu. They overpowered the crap out of him, and I loved him. He was amazing looking, very solid Pokemon. And then I saw the Lieutenant Surge episode. Oh my goodness, Raichu looked awesome. And I was like, as soon as they got the Thunderstone near Pikachu, I was like, oh, my favorite Pokemon on the show is going to become even more awesome? Then no. Bull crap about be yourself and, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it would have been amazing if he was a Raichu. I love... Honestly, if they did not have that bullcrap about the not evolving, Raichu would probably be higher on my list. Since I use him in my team, he looks amazing. It's just, I have that memory of Pikachu turning down that, and it just makes me angry. It makes me not love Raichu as much. I'm sorry, Raichu. Alright, let's get on to the next number. Number 19! Tyranitar. Ooh, this guy. He's in this because he is just powerful and vicious looking, and oh, I love it. Basically, if I owned a nightclub in the Pokemon world, my bouncer would have a Tyranitar standing beside him. Because Tyranitar looks like he would just eat you and not take a second guess at it. He just looks awesome, and I love him. He's amazing. That is about it. Alright, on to number 18. Typhlosion. I played a lot of Generation 2, but not in the old cart. I played the Generation 4 version of Generation 2, which is arguably better. No, not even arguably, it is better. I don't care what you say. That's probably the Pokemon game I played the most. Played a lot of that. And Typhlosion has always been my starter. The Totodile line's alright. I can't even remember the other one. That's how much I never really cared about it. It's just Typhlosion. Cyndaquil is adorable, and then Typhlosion just looks awesome. And I remember when I was younger watching a special Pokemon episode where it's all about Raikou, and the main character was Gold, and he was using his Typhlosion, and I have fond memories of watching that. And there's another Pokemon from those short 4 episodes is on here as well, just because of the good memories it gives me. Alright, on to the next number. Number 17, Flygon. Flygon is just cool, because dragons are cool. And not just in Pokemon, but anywhere. Dragons are cool. You can show me like a super kitty-fied dragon, I'd still be like, it's still a dragon. It's cool. When they went to Generation 3 in the anime, they had May and her thing about contests, whatever. But then they brought the Rose guy. Can't remember his full name, I just remember him as like Rose Guy. He had a cool team, and he was just cool. He was damaged, but he was cool. You knew that even though he was doing something that was completely dumb, contest-wise, and boring, but he was gonna bring the heat. No matter what he was doing, he would tear you down. Because he is just that cool. And Flygon is basically the Pokemon from that team I remember the most. And his Roselia. I remember his Roselia a little bit, but I felt Roselia was a little boring in my opinion. Then he brought out his Flygon, and I was like, oh, I must have it. I must have it. Oh, Flygon, how I love you. Let me count the ways. Alright, that's enough. On to number 16, and here is the first Pokemon in Generation 3 that I chose as my starter. It was the second game I ever played, was the Ruby version, and here's the guy I picked. I picked Blaziken. I didn't care about the previous two evolutions. I wanted a Blaziken. And I was going to get me a Blaziken because I loved fire types a lot back then. They were probably my second favorite type. And Blaziken just looked like... Honestly, he's Bruce Lee if he was a fire chicken. And I love Bruce Lee. And that is basically the whole reason. And I played with him for the longest time. The only reason he's lower on this list is because I don't like fire types as much as I used to. They're still cool. I still like them. They're still in like the top 5 types, but they used to be number 2, but now they're like 4 or 5. And that's pretty much the whole reason. Time to go on to number 15. Rayquaza! Oh, dear Lord, hi, it's Rayquaza! The most awesomest awesome dragon. Well, not the most awesomest dragon, but dear goodness, it is probably my, if not my favorite legendary, my second favorite legendary. He is just amazing looking. His design just oozes perfection. The smoothness, and the cracks. Oh, I just love it. I bought 2 copies of Emerald because one broke, just so I could get a Rayquaza. I loved Rayquaza that much. I suck at I suck at like movement puzzles in video games, but I beat the heck out of that tower just so I could get Rayquaza. I spent a whole day trying to beat that tower just for Rayquaza. Oh, Rayquaza oozes cool and badass all at the same time, which is one of the things you've probably noticed is a commonality in this list. Alright, next Pokemon. Number 14! Lapras. Okay, you might be thinking, how is Lapras more awesome than Rayquaza? Well, it kinda isn't, but I like it better, if that makes sense. Lapras is... It's just like one of those things. I would have it just because it's just... It's having the best of both worlds. It's like having a dog and a seal and a killer whale combined all into one with a turtle shell that acts as the perfect saddle seat to ride across the ocean. Honestly, it's probably mostly because of the anime that I love Lapras as much as I do. Because Lapras was amazing, had more character than all the other characters in the anime at that time. And I just loved the design. It's simple, but it looked really good. And in games, Lapras is a decent Pokemon. The only problem with Lapras is it doesn't have an evolution, or it needs more power, in a sense. But Lapras is just nice. Nice little buddy. Hug him, pet him, wash him down, ride him across the ocean. Because he's your buddy. Buddy. Number 13. Agron. Oh, this guy. This guy is my right-hand buddy. He is World Crusher. Groudon is cool, but dear goodness, Agron looks like he is the god of continents. He is a metal dinosaur that can use lightning and create water, and oh, Agron. He just looks amazing. His whole line looks pretty darn good. Even though he has a lot of weaknesses, type-wise. Rock, ground. That does not seem right to me. I could see rock, but honestly, he should have been a rock dragon. In my opinion. No. He should have been a steel dragon. He should have been a steel dragon. He is just... But he should have been a dragon. Poor Agron. If you were a dragon, you would have been higher on my list. But don't worry, we're still buddies. Alright, next number. Number 12. Curlia. This Pokemon is from my favorite Pokemon line. The only reason Curlia is so low on this list is it's the awkward middle evolution of my favorite line. It is a ballerina, a psychic ballerina. That's just an interesting concept. A psychic ballerina that could kill you. And it just has so much... It just got so much moxie. The whole line has a lot of moxie. And I just love it. It's just an amazing line. And it carries on throughout all of them. Even Curlia, which is the worst one of that line. But just because of it's in that line, it's this high up on the list. Alright, next number. 11. Salamence. Salamence is probably the coolest dragon. Well, coolest dragon type. Not the coolest dragon in all the games. That's arguable, in my opinion. But a dragon type Pokemon does not get much better than Salamence. It's just... Oh, that is a dragon. You cannot argue... You showed somebody a picture who doesn't know much about mythology or Pokemon, they would be like, that's a dragon. And I love dragons. And Salamence is powerful. And cool. And dragon. Love him. Alright, next number. Number 10! Absol. This is another one that comes a lot from the anime. That's where I first saw my Absol. The destruction Pokemon, everybody who sees it, there's something bad's gonna happen. It is the, oh dear lord, let's go. Run, run. And having it be not the cause, but just like, oh, it has a great story behind it. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted one. I just loved its design, even though it had the stupid half-sword head with like a sword growing out of its face. That was stupid, but it looked good. I don't know how they made something look so stupid look so good, but they did it with Absol and made it amazing. The only reason he's only number 10 is because he's not that powerful. But then they gave him a Mega, and then I want that too, because Absol. Alright, next number. Number 9. This, from 9 and up, there is going to be a story or a very specific reason for why I love this Pokemon and why they're at this point in the list, why they're so high up. It'll either do with the anime or the design, my past. There's going to be a very specific reason for that. Now, continuing. Number 9 is Raikou. Raikou, the whole reason he's so high on the list is Electric type used to be my favorite type. I grew up on the anime, and it tricked me into loving electric types. And then I watched the sub-anime series where they followed Gold for a little bit, instead of Ash and all those idiots. And I loved the characters. All the human characters were good. Were actually good for once. And they were all basically trying to help save Raikou. And Raikou is the king of all electric types. Zapdos, yeah, right, he's cool, but he's no Raikou. Raikou is a gigantic tiger dog with lightning and looks cool, and throughout the episode they showed how badass he was, and it made me love him. He was actually my favorite for the longest time. But then I kind of grew up, and then I got in and out of Pokemon constantly. But he still stayed in my favorite list. Just because he's that awesome. Number 8. Blastoise. Oh, Blastoise. He holds a special place in my heart. I played a lot of Generation 3. That was the first video game generation of Pokemon I played. I played Fire Red version, and then led into Ruby, and then Emerald, and then so on and so forth. I played a lot of Gen 3. And my first pick was a different Pokemon, but Blastoise was the first Pokemon I won the game with. He was the very first Pokemon I got to level 100 with, legitimately. And mainly because in the games, he is mechanically the most powerful starter in that game. Even though he's not my favorite, he just holds a special place in my heart for being the first one I won with. Honestly, that whole game, I actually played it again for a third time with Blastoise, and just used him the entire Elite Four. Did not use any other Pokemon, just him. And he wasn't over leveled. He was about 5 levels above them, and he just walked through all of them. And that just holds a special place in my heart for something that can be so destructive. Alright, next number. Number 7, Charizard. This is my favorite Generation 1 Pokemon. He is, well, not my favorite Generation 1 Pokemon. He is my favorite Generation 1 starter. He looks even more dragon than Salamence. He is one defined color. He looks like a dragon. And a red dragon at that. And in the anime, how he did not put up with Ash, because he's Ash Ketchum, who is annoying and dumb. That just won me over. And he was a dragon. But then, they did not type him as one. Even after they created the dragon type, they did not give him his dragon type. It took all the way till Generation 6 to give him dragon type, but you needed to Mega Evolve him. Oh, poor Charizard. You keep getting shafted. You're not the most powerful Generation 1 starter. You're not dragon type. People hate you in different areas for some ungodly reason. Oh, Charizard. Poor, poor Charizard. Well, let's continue. Number 6. Arcanine. Arcanine, the only reason he is so high is I love dogs. Dogs, oh, I have 3. In real life, I have 3 dogs. And I've always had a daydream. Anytime I'm like petting a dog and and I'm zoned out, I'm daydreaming about having a giant dog that I can ride like a horse. And Pokemon gave us Arcanine, which is a dog the size of a horse that looks amazing. Its color scheme, in my opinion, is, if not the best, one of the best color schemes. And it's a fire type, which is one of my top 5 favorite types. And it is an amazing. I try to have it in my team every time I can get it. Either it or a Vulpix, and which it becomes Ninetales. And they are an amazing pair. But Arcanine beats out Vulpix because it is more doggish. Vulpix is a fox, and so is Ninetales. Arcanine is a dog, so it automatically wins. Next, Pokemon! Number 5, the top 5, the big head honchos. And demonstrating 2 of my other top 5 favorite types, Metagross. Steel, Psychic. I'm hooked. Steel just, it makes, whenever I think of like a steel Pokemon, I think of it automatically brings up images of a heavy metal album cover, where there's just like steel skeletons and just metal. And Psychic? I've always been a big fan of the concept of magic. Like wizards and stuff, not like magicians and dumb Vegas. And Psychic is other than Fairy, Psychic is the closest to magic in the Pokemon universe. I would be the Psychic trainer with flying Pokeballs and stuff because Psychic is cool. And I would train my life just to be Psychic. And Metagross? Oh, the design? Point at that and tell me it's not a cool design. And if you tell me it isn't, I'm going to call you a liar. I dare you. Put in the comments. You'll see me down there calling you a liar. Because Metagross is just that cool. And powerful. You do not want to go up against a Metagross. It will kill you. Whenever I first saw Metagross, and that's the whole reason I bought Ruby, just so I could get a Metagross. When I finally got that, I slogged through the other two pre-evolutions because just to get to Metagross. The two Beldum and Metang are boring and don't look as cool. But then they turn into the awesomest of awesome things. Metagross! The crusher of worlds. Oh, Metagross. We shall destroy the world together. Come along with me. Alright, next number. Number 4. Treecko. Treecko is a part of my... I just love Treecko. He has just got the personality. And my love for Treecko and his line is a more of a recent phenomenon with me. I've been playing through the Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time again, and I'm a Treecko, and I keep thinking throughout the story I've been replacing the lines that they give you prerequisite and make up my own, and it's basically me but a lot more cool, and it's basically me and the Fawns fused together and turned into a Pokemon. And that's how I perceive Treecko. He sits along the side of the room, using his tail as a chair, with a leather jacket somehow made out of leaves, with a toothpick in his mouth, chewing it. Waiting for all the idiots to stop talking so he can give them the smart plan. Oh, little Treecko. You little Fonzie, son of a gun, you. Alright, number 3. Gardevoir. Gardevoir is elegance. Anytime I think of the word elegance, I immediately think of Gardevoir. It doesn't matter. Grace and beauty and poise and the concept of mind being the most powerful thing. It's just amazing. It is also it's also so powerful as well. It is a glass tank. Well, a glass cannon, I should say. It can't take a hit, but if you aren't fast enough, you're getting destroyed. You are getting blown away by Gardevoir. And it is just that powerful, but elegant, but more powerful than comprehension. And then they gave it a Mega. And the Mega is alright. But it doesn't have that same look to me. It's like they dialed down the elegance, which makes me sad. Oh, Gardevoir. How the mighty have fallen. Oh well. Next number. Number 2. Grovyle. And you're saying, hey, what? Why are Grovyle and Treecko so high on the list? Why are they taking up the 2 and 4 spot, you idiot? You're supposed to space them out and make it look like you're not an idiot. Well, that's just... And to that, I say, shut up. This is my list, not yours. Grovyle is Treecko dialed up to 10. And is more powerful, and is more cool, and is just amazing. Honestly, Grovyle should have been the third stage, in my opinion. Sceptile? Yeah, bigger, stronger, doesn't matter. Grovyle? Oh dear lord, that is cool. He just oozes cool. Oh, Grovyle. You are amazing. But you are still not number one. Oh, who could this Pokemon be? All these big names, all these awesome Pokemon. Who could it be? Who could Zentthefirst's favorite Pokemon be? Who is the champion Pokemon of Game Corner? The answer may surprise you. And number one is Ralts. Gasp! Shock! How could this be? You've had a Gardevoir on number 3, but you put Ralts at number 1? It doesn't get a good attack move till level 9. And then you're all just stuck with Growl and Double Team. Well, Ralts is... it's just an amazing looking Pokemon. And anytime I think of me in the Pokemon world, I want Ralts as my partner. Even though he can't attack or do stuff, he is my partner all the way. I would spend days in Generation 3 trying to get a Ralts. Just because Ralts is that amazing. I can just imagine in the Pokemon universe having my Ralts out, sitting on my shoulder, and me talking to him with telepathy. And me and him fighting through the whole game, and then him finally becoming a Gardevoir. Oh, Ralts. You're amazing. Your whole line is amazing, but you are my buddy. And you probably shall remain my buddy for a long time to come. Oh, Ralts. Well, that is my top 20 list. Pokemon Generation 1 through 3. Leave comments in the description telling me how wrong I am, your favorite Pokemon, how I mispronounced names, everything, every kit and caboodle. This is my list for now. It's probably, once I get through the next 3 generations and feel comfortable with them, I'll give you a list on my generations 4 through 6. And then, after that, I will probably do another list where I give you a strict top 10 of all the generations. But that does not look like it's going to be anytime soon. So, enjoy this list while you have it. And if you don't click that like button, I will have my army of zombies kill you. Zentthefirst, signing off.